Good evening and welcome to Mimosas and Macrame. My name is Carrie Simpson and tonight we will be making a macrame kind of like this, although it'll have a ring. Instead, this will be for my mom. But I just wanted to say this is our second real episode. We did one live and it wasn't as easy for me to teach, and I don't think it was successful as a way for me to do this. So I'm going to just do these pre-recorded and eventually maybe do something on Zoom or something like that. So for now, bear with me. So tonight I'm drinking, I have a little red wine spritzer in here. It's April 18th and we've been social distancing for now almost 6 weeks. Here in Seattle, our kids are not going back to school. So in addition to working from home about 25 hours a week or more, I'm also helping her do school. So things are very interesting. So here we go. So before you start your project, you may want to do a little smudging or clear your room, clean up a little bit, and burn a little bit of sage, or in this case, I have a nice little piece of Palo Santo that I bought at my friend's store in Columbia City called Andaluz. Shout out to Carla. So this just makes your space nice. And as you can see, I'm using a clothing rack. This is just from Fred Meyer. It was like super easy, cheap way to get a little macrame studio in your house. Here's another project I am working on. This will actually be a double. So there'll be a space for a plant up here, and then there'll be space for another plant down here. This one will look awesome in a corner. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep this or give this away. I found this fabric at Seattle Recreative. Another awesome shout out to a great store. Hopefully they'll be able to be open soon. Here's a nice little cutie I made. I love gathering driftwood when I'm walking on the beach. Hopefully they don't keep the beach parks closed for much longer. This is a nice strawberry begonia, and it's putting out all these babies. It's so happy right now. I actually sent some babies to my aunt, and we'll probably be potting all of these up to be giving away to people when I give them plants. This one is a macrame, and then I used yarn to just do this weaving back and forth. So I'm probably going to do that with this project for my mom. So I'll show you how to do that. So the materials you're going to need is 8 lengths of cord, and I'm using, this is 1/8 inch black cotton unglazed rope, and it's from qualitynylonrope.com. They're definitely not a sponsor, but I have loved ordering from them. They're actually a marine rope company, and they have a lot of different things available. So if you want to get away from kind of the bougie macrame specific materials, it's good to kind of check out the hardware store or other types of stores to see what other materials you can find. The other thing we'll use is this. This is just some yarn. This I also got from Seattle Recreative, and I'm going to use the yarn to do this weaving on my mom's piece. So anyway, so you're going to take, this is, the way I measure this is 2 arm lengths. So I'm about 5'4", so that is about 10 and a half feet-ish. So you want 8 ropes times 10 and a half. So you need about 80 to 90 or maybe even 100 feet of material, depending on how, and this is actually going to be a bigger project. This is about, I think this is an arm length and a half, and then this one is just 1 arm length. So you can kind of see the distance or the size. So you're going to fold it in half like a hairpin, and you're going to take it through your ring, and this is called the lark's head knot. So you take the loop through the ring, bend it over, and then pull the 2 through, and depending on how fussy you want to be about all this, you can match up the length and then just pull it tight. And what I did on here, this is literally a black hair tie with an S hook, and then I can just hook stuff on here. This is some other kind of hook. So I kind of use this, usually it's outside or somewhere out of the way. So anyway, so you're going to take your 8 links and put those on one after the other. And you don't have to, they can be, oops, they don't have to be, well, yeah, you'll just fit them on there. So you're bending it, go back through from the back to the front, bend it over, and pull the 2 things through, the 2 legs through. And then you just, oops, oh my gosh, that one's backwards. It's easy to get confused. And the good thing with macrame is you can always, so the way I did it is you take it from the front to the back, bend it over, pull the 2, there, and just keep lining those up. So you're going to do all 8, and it'll look a little crowded, but it's going to be great. So yeah, my mom is an avid gardener, houseplant maven. I think I've learned, well, I learned a lot, I think, watching her take care of her houseplants. And now that I am taking care of a million houseplants, I feel like I'm channeling her in a weird way. Like, oh, would my mom do it this way? Or I don't know. I guess we haven't actually lived together for a long time, so I don't know how I learned all these houseplant things. But anyway, I have a large number of houseplants. I'm actually starting to propagate them and want to figure out how to, I don't know if I want to sell houseplants through the mail. It seems so weird to sell something like that, but anyway, I'm propagating a lot of plants, and right now, since I can't actually meet up with anyone, I wanted to host a plant swap, but because of social distancing, I literally cannot. So I actually thought it would be kind of fun to try, maybe in the end of April, is do a social distancing plant swap, like in a parking lot, and everybody could show up with their plants and like open their tailgate and leave their cart open, and people could just walk around and pick out the plants that they want. I don't know. Or just like find a picnic table somewhere and just bring the plants, and everybody, I guess, wears their masks and their gloves, and I don't know. Everything is just so weird now. I don't even know. I want things somewhat to go back to normal. I do want to be able to see my friends and let my daughter have play dates, and I just feel like there's so much that we're missing out on right now, and especially with the weather getting nicer, and like, is she gonna go to day camp this summer? Is that even gonna be a thing? Or are we literally gonna be stuck at home with our kids all summer? I start to panic when I think about that. Like, literally, if there's no school and then our kids aren't even allowed to go to camp because they can't control how kids are like washing their hands, and they potentially could still be spreading it and bringing germs or bringing COVID-19 home to their families and multi-generational families and people who are immune compromised. I'm like, I just don't think that we can be safe to have summer camp this summer. So I don't know. I'm totally bummed. This year I was able to actually get her signed up for all these swim camps in the city where we live. There's swim, so they get to do activities in the morning, and then they go swimming in the afternoon at the community pool. And, it's like the big year that she could do that now, and I am super bummed that it may not happen. Okay, so you'll get all these on here to look like this. So I am going to set up a different camera shot so it's a little bit closer, and add a little bit more light on the subject here. And then I will show you, so basically what we're going to make is a plant hanger. So in the end, these 2 will be in the front, these will be in the back. There'll be kind of something like this, sort of at the top, down into some kind of pattern, and it'll drop down into the 4 sides. And then the plant basket will be here-ish. And because this is so long, there might be room for one more little baby one, or because my mom wants something big, I might just make just a huge basket down here. So it'll look kind of like this. So that's the plan, and I will finish this project. Okay, so here we are, super close. Hopefully you won't have to see the back of my head, but so I moved some extra lights in here, and I did these just to show what they're going to look like. So these are what's called square knots, and they should look like this if you do them correctly. So the technique is, so you have your 2 ropes will make each kind of arm of the plant hanger. So you have the 2 up the middle, and those are your running cords, and these are your active cords. So the way I teach it, and I'm left-handed, so who knows, this may make people crazy because it's different, but I start with a number 4. So I make a bend like this, and I put it in front of the 2 that are going down. This one goes in front of this one, around, behind. So you're basically making half of a square knot around the 2 running cords up the middle. And then you're going to do it backwards. So now you're making a P in front. You put this bar in front of the 2 that are running vertical. Take this one in front of this horizontal cord, around behind the 2, pull it through, and that should make a very nice looking square dots. Let's see if I can bring this. Let me see what that looks like. Okay. Okay, how is this working for you? Comment down below and let me know. Okay, so what we're going to do next is we're going to make a nice V shape for the square knots. So you're reducing the number of square knots as you go in, and I'll show you how to do that. So right now, take your 2 outside cords and flip them off to the side, and you can take these 2 and put them over there so they won't get in your way. And okay, so now you're going to make square knots here, here, and in the middle. So you're basically making, you did 4 in the first row, you're going to do 3, you're going to do 2, and you're going to do 1. And then we're actually going to put a bead on here. So how awesome is that? So this is just a design I like, and you got to play around with this. So remember, we're going to do the 2 up the middle. You do a number 4. This is in front of the horizontal part of the 4, around, behind, and through. And now this is where there are certain people that like things to be really perfect and very straight and very lined up. I'm a Virgo, and my natural tendency is order and having things very clean and organized. But I am also a real human, and so I have an 8-year-old, and so I can't have everything be perfect all the time, and so I'm able to let that go quite easily. So I do like, when you look at it, that the distance between these is close as possible, so that you end up with this kind of, it looks almost like a flower petal, or kind of this cool geometric shape. So if you keep the distance the same and you make the tightness the same as you go, then that will be pleasing to someone like me. Other people like things to be much more loose and just kind of let it do whatever you're going to do. The good thing with macrame is you can always undo. So if you start looking at this and you're like, oh, I wish these were actually further apart or closer together, just undo it. It's just start over. It's totally fine. Okay, so we're going to do our number 4. This one is in front of this one. Bring it around behind. And then again, I'm kind of comparing like how far apart these are to how tight it's supposed to be. And there you go. So, and now our last one for this row. So you've got your 2 up the middle, make a number 4. This one goes in front and around behind the 2. Oops, sorry, that looked crazy. And then just kind of hold these, pull these down and tighten those up kind of at the same time. You'll start to get a feel, once you do this, your muscle memory will kick in and you'll just kind of feel how you're supposed to be doing this. You know, for now, just take it slow. And so here's our P. I pinch this across like that, go in front, around behind, tighten it up. And on mine, I actually, because I know this is going to be holding a pretty big plant, I'm actually trying to, I don't want this to be like so tight so you don't have to like really rack it, but I would try to, I just know over time, especially if it's being outside, it's going to sag. And so I'm trying to make this kind of tight and like have this nice pattern. So the next, to go into more, you're going to take these 2, you're going to take these 2, and now we're just going to do 2. So we're making this really cool, it's just a simple kind of V shape, geometric shape. Again, a number 4, this one goes in front, around behind, like this. And see how nice this little shape is? It reminds me of almost like 70s wallpaper, like where there'd be flowers, but then the negative space between the flowers would be this other shape. I don't know. There's just something about this I just love, obviously. So I started doing macrame. My sister actually recommended that I try it. She's like, at some point had just sent me a card or something that said, macrame should be your new craft. And she included a cool, like 1970s, like kind of like macrame project book that was very like on point of the style that I like. So, and I just started learning it. I watched a lot of YouTube videos. There's some great macrame teachers. And in the beginning, this is a couple years ago, there was, you know, crafty, like Midwestern ladies who were just kind of showing it in their living room, and then very polished, kind of more millennial, like very nice videos that kind of showed a lot more. So between all that, I practiced some different things. I started following some macrame artists on Instagram, and that's another way to like see what people are making. So that's kind of how I got started. So look at this nice little design here. Isn't that sweet? So now I'm going to show you how to put a bead on. And these are just plain, just wooden beads that I bought at Joann's. They have these multicolored ones, and then they've got these kind of brown and white shaded ones. And I just bought a couple bags of those. So here, you take your bead, and make sure, obviously, the hole is big enough. Take your 2, so you want your 2 that are going up the middle, and just put them through the bead. Push the bead all the way up. And then I just do a simple square knot around the bead. So you've got a square knot up here, and then just do another square knot right below. And then make it nice and tight. So now when you bring these down, you're starting to see, so this is kind of the pattern of what it's going to look like out in the yard. Oops. Let's see. So now I think what I'm going to do is just make the V go back the other way. So we're going to do 2, a row of 2, a row of 3, and a row of 4. And we'll be down here. And then we'll start the 4 lines for the plant hanger, which will be kind of down here. So, yeah, so with macrame, so after I had started doing macrame for a while, I went into Seattle Recreative, which is a local craft kind of thrift store in Seattle, and asked if they had any macrame classes, because I thought, you know, it'd be great to actually like take a physical class from someone and learn more in person than I might have learned on a YouTube video. And they said, oh, we don't actually have any macrame classes, but you know, if you wanted to teach that, that would be great because they have all kinds of great craft classes there all the time. So I was like, okay, I guess I could teach. I know more than someone who doesn't know anything. So I started teaching macrame, and I've taught 4 or 5 classes there. And then they also have a contract with King County Library System, which is awesome. They have all these great maker spaces at the Federal Way Library and the Bellevue Library. And then so those are in the maker spaces, which are these fabulous areas where you can borrow equipment and learn how to use a CNC machine. And anyway, so I did that. But unfortunately, and I had a bunch of classes lined up for April of this year, but because of COVID-19, I wasn't able to teach the classes. So here I am on the YouTube. Okay, so we've done 1, we've done 2. Now we're going to do a row of 3, and so you can get this out of the way if this is confusing. So make sure you take the 2 outside ones, get them over here. So now we're going to do 1, 2, 3 knots across. And the cool thing is here, this is where I think I'm going to do the weaving through here. So there's this nice space. So I'm going to have weaving that goes maybe around the bead or something. I don't know. We'll see. I never really know exactly what I'm doing when I start these, but I have a general idea. Okay, so we do this. And when you do the sort of decreasing knots and increasing back up again, make sure you do a whole row at a time, because if you went down and did this one now before you did these, sometimes the tension of the rope is just kind of weird. So I try to do 1 row at a time, I guess is my advice. I don't know. I feel like I'm a very self-taught macrame teacher, so there's probably better ways of doing all of this, but you know, whatever. Here we are, we're doing our best. Okay, so now we've done, and again, you can kind of see how, like, for each one, as I'm tightening it, I make sure that the vertical ones are tightened. Okay, we are back. Oh, just trying to set this up so you can see. So we've done our one row, 2, 3, 4 square knots across, and now I'm going to show you how to make this cool spiral knot. Okay, so the cool thing about this is it's very easy. You just start making the number 4, so the first half of the square knot. And I don't like to make it totally tight. I like to have a little bit of space in between. So now, instead of doing the other half of the square knot, so starting on this side, you actually just do the number 4 again. So you're basically making 1/2 of a square knot over and over again. And I did this 10 times, so I'm going to do the same on this side. 3. And you'll see it'll start to twist in your hand, so you can just kind of let it, don't try to force it to stay facing forward. You want it to, and the way that you count knots is you just start up here. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then I'm going to finish it off by doing, now you do the other half of the square knot. So now you're making your P, fold it over, the front of the 2 up, center ropes go in front of that and then around behind. And that way it's nice, and you can make that bottom one nice and tight. So those should look the same. And now for the middle, so I'm gonna just do, I don't know what this knot is actually called, but to me it looks like a bundle of grain, like those old-timey or like historic artifact pictures of a bundle of grain, like, anyway, so you take the 4 up the middle, and you take your, so you're basically making one giant square knot using 2 ropes on each side. And then just try to keep everything together, so when you bend it around, like keep it laying flat. See, I just think that looks so cool. And now you're gonna make your P. This. So, and you'll see, if you can see it up close, the knot just looks really nice. It's like all laid flat, like the 2 ropes together are kind of, so okay, how's it working for you? So one thing I wanted to show you is after you do these cool spiral knots, you're going to use your rope in different ways. So you can see the center one is about 1 foot longer now than the 2 on the side. And that's because the one on the side the 2 on the side have been doing all this work. This one has just been kind of sitting there doing nothing. So what I like to do is this, where you switch the inside to the outside, and then now the middle one is actually, the middle 2 are actually shorter than the 2 on the outside. And this will just give you more, you'll see. Now, most of them are the same length. So to do this, you take the 2 on the outside, you flip them to the inside behind the 2 that are in the middle, now split. And now this, you're going to make your number 4. Go in front of this one and around behind the 2. And now, and you make kind of this cool pretzel shape. And tighten it off. So here we are in this pattern. I'm just trying to think now what should be our next step. We could do another bead. That might look cool. And we could do a bead, which will be right here, like this. And then everything, what I want is basically to get these all to the same level. Yeah, let's do that. So remember to put the bead on. In this case, we're going to have to actually get 4. So get your strings all the same length. And these beads are great because the holes are huge. I've tried it before with kind of more like jewelry type beads. And sometimes you have to kind of twist it to get them to all go through. So there you go. Now make them all even. Line everything up, and then we're going to do a square knot around the bead because that just looks kind of sharp. I'll do this. Yeah, I actually really like this rope that I bought from qualitynylonrope.com. I should make them my sponsor. They've probably never been hit up by a macrame artist before. Haha. Okay. So here we are with this. So now, like, these are going to come forward. So we're going to start our plant basket. And what I want to make sure is there's going to be enough space to actually get a pot in there. So what I might do is a few more. What I could do is do some spiral knots now off the back, because that will be a cool balance on what's happening on the front. And then I can show you, actually I'll show you this one. This is called a picot square knot. So you do your normal square knot like this. Let's see, I'll start one down here. Okay, and instead of, let's see, Oh yeah. Okay, so now you're going to make another square knot underneath. And instead of making it go all the way up, kind of leave this extra space. So now, when you do this, make it nice and tight, you push it up, and it makes this cool little, it looks sort of like a dragonfly wing. So we'll do one more of those. And again, leave it down here, like leave enough, like probably an inch of space. Tighten it and then slide it up. And now, isn't that cute? For the garden, it'll just look really awesome. Okay, so now I want to catch up on this side. So now we're going to make, so basically we're starting to make the pot holder. So, and like I said, I want to have enough space that she can get probably a pot like this big in there. And we want to make a nice big basket. So I think we're in good shape. Okay, so let's make this side look like this. Sorry, I have to keep looking to make sure my film is still running. This thing, my camera is almost out of storage space, so I had to delete a bunch of photos and whatever on there. Okay, so we're leaving an extra space. Doing a little, and I don't know if you can hear in the background, my daughter's hamster, Rose, just woke up. It's probably 9:30 at night. This is when she wakes up to start partying all night. So you might hear her kind of chewing in the background. She's very cute. She was we got her just last week. Oops. She is quite adorable. And gives my daughter something to do during the day, so she doesn't bother me. Haha. Okay, I'm gonna push those up. And we're gonna do that again. Like this. I wish I could have music running, but YouTube is so careful with copyright stuff. So if I had some music playing in the background, isn't that cute? That is adorable. All right, so now we're going to do the middle. And I think I'm just going to divide these, and I'm just going to do some spiral knots to get these running, and I'm going to get them to catch up. So I'm going to do enough to get down to here, and we will be close to being done. And that. Oops. Oh, I did a full square knot. That's fine. So I did one square knot, and now I'm just doing half of the square knot on one side, running. And once you start doing it, it's going to want to twist, so then you can just grab it from the back. And there we go. We're going around and around. Maybe 10. The thing I love about macrame is it's like kind of symmetry and balance. Perfect. Oh my God, look at that. Da, da, da. And then I do one, so I did half the square knot. Now I'm doing the P side to close it off. And this one I can make nice and tight because that's sort of ending the, and look, it matched up perfectly. Oh my gosh. Yeah, the spiral knot looks sort of like our DNA, which is exciting. All right, so here we're going to make a full square knot. And like this. yeah, I have been tempted. So now I'm starting the square knot, or the spiral knot. So I'm just doing the first half of the square knot on this side. It's flipping around, that's great. I think this is going to look great in my mom's yard. So this summer our whole family was going to travel to Scotland to see where my dad's family is from. And so we had arranged all of this stuff to happen, and now we're not going to do the trip. So I think our family will now go to where my parents live. And so now I'm just thinking about this cute project and being able to see it in my mom's garden this summer. Because if we had done the Scotland trip, we wouldn't have also spent time at their house. So anyway, it was a hard choice, but we all really wanted to do the Scotland trip too, to kind of learn about our ancestry. But we'll do it next summer. Right now, it's just more important to keep everybody healthy. So, okay, so what we need to do now is start to think about the basket. So these are going to be in the back, and these are going to be in the front. So now the cool thing is you're going to take the two right-hand ones from this one and the two left-hand ones from this one, and you're going to now make a new square knot over here, like this. And I'm going to make that just like that. So it's probably maybe like 5 inches down from these adorable little dragonfly beetle looking thingies. Okay, so there's that. So this will be the front. And now, let's see, now I'm just going to flip this over. So the good thing is you can take this off and just flip it around, and we can work on the back, because I want to make sure the back is not all like twisted around. So because these twist on their own, you have to kind of figure out the left and the right hand side. So I'm going to say, and now I'm going to go down exactly the same distance as that one. So you're taking the two, you're making a square knot, half of the square knot, this. Cool, and that. So now you're seeing, okay, so now we're going to do the side. So you're going to do the same thing. You're going to take, like, line these up, take the two from this side and the two from this side, and we'll go down the same, make our little square knot. Looks about right. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. As this thing weathers, especially if it's outside, it's going to look different. It's going to sag and whatever. So I would not spend a lot of time worried about being perfect. Just do your best. Okay, so I haven't done the other side, but you can see you're making kind of this cool net. So now we're going to bring this. So here's the two last ones on this side, the two last ones on this side. I'm going to go down here. Do this, and awesome. So now let's flip this back around so it's facing forward. This is the back, which looks totally fine. Here's the front, and this is when you can so you can see now I've got a couple short ones. Because of those spiral knots, it's unfortunately what happens. Some of them just end up being really short. So we'll run out of space basically down here. So I think this is where the knot that'll go under the pot will be here, like this. And we've just got what I think is going to be perfect. She'll be able to just squeeze it in. There'll be a little plate under there to hold the plant from dripping out all over the place, and I think this looks awesome. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to put a bead on the front because I want to make sure, and I have this light colored one, but I think I'm actually going to do that same color to be consistent. Rummaging in my bead bag like this. And look, I even got a slightly, oh yeah, that's gonna look so good. This, and then with that purple, I'll do the accents tomorrow. I'll show you how to do those, the weaving. Okay, so remember you put the bead up on the middle too, and then you just do a square knot around the bead. So now when she's looking at it from across the yard, she'll know this is the front. Okay, and that's the back, and that'll look cool when the plant is in there. She's got so many houseplants, and she brings all of them out in the summer because Vermont has such nice weather. So now what we're going to do is continue making this basket. So now you're going to take the two on the left from this one and the two on the right from this one, and you're going to go down again to here and just do another square knot. Basically, we don't want, you're making a net, so and you want it to be kind of equal, so that it doesn't look weird, like it's not squished up on one side and loose on the other. So that looks pretty good. Tighten it again because you're going to be holding probably a 15-pound plant or whatever with water, even heavier. Make sure your knots are nice and tight now. Okay, so we're going to go down about the same amount. And this, maybe I've just found my shortest rope right here. So I did see a YouTube video of how to add rope to your macrame. I didn't really figure out how to do it. And I don't want it to look all like cheesy, so. All right. Okay. So I think that's pretty much it. Because we've gone so long, I'm going to actually reset the camera again. So we're going to do what's called a wrap knot, which will finish the project right about here. So this will be how big a basket it is, and it'll look like that. And I'll show you how to trim off the bottom. Some people make it all the same. I kind of like it to have a little bit of some layers, a little bit of feathering here. But we're almost done. Good job, everybody. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to finish the project. So here we are. I've pushed the whole project up because it's hard to see down here what's going on. So push this up like this. So this is the bottom, the end, and you can see this one is our shortest one, and I want to make sure this one is tucked in and no one will see what's going on. And this is kind of the bottom knot that I did. So you're going to take a piece about 18 inches long, fold it over maybe, I don't know, 4 or 5 inches, and I do it like this. So make the loop going down, your long is hanging this way, grab all your ends and lay this on here just exactly where you want it. And then you're going to just start wrapping around. So you're making kind of a noose. It looks a little crazy or weird, but And you're going to just wrap it like one wrap on top of each other. Remember, this is basically what's holding your plant in there. So, oops. Let's see if I can do it like this. Can you see? So you're going around and just get them all to lay on top of each other. Here's your loop, so don't lose that. And you're going to get one more. Okay, so you're at, oh. Okay, so here's your loop. Here's the end of what you've been using to wrap. You're going to go through the loop and hold it down here. And now here's your original, your little tail. You're going to pull it tight and look, the loop just disappeared up inside. So now, take your little scissors. This.